Peace and love, and welcome to Black Diamond Worldwide Outreach. As you can see, we are back at the desk today because we have a snow day, but that doesn't stop the message from coming through. So hopefully you receive it in a great way as you also receive great gifts of health for your body. This is our Martin Luther King Day weekend, and as we celebrate Dr. King and the message and the legacy of love and justice that he left, we can take his words, we can look at our faith, and we can realize how our body is receiving great gifts of health. We can realize how we have to prioritize not just work, but also rest. That there must be points of where we work and points of when we rest our body, rest our mind, rest our situations, our things that we are going through, so that we can open ourselves more to the blessings of life. So as you relax this weekend with the snow, with Martin Luther King Day weekend, as you reset yourself, always remember to balance your work life and your resting periods. Learning how to navigate your way to points where you must rest, points where you must take it easy, but also finding the time for you, finding the time for your life, finding the time for your joy, finding the time for your love, knowing that the very act of living your life is bringing joy to your body. Friends, there are so many things that are going on in the world, so many things that come into our life that it begins to affect our body in sometimes positive and negative ways. But as you constantly live your life, knowing that whatever is going on, whatever comes your way is bringing you great gifts of health, you can truly know that you can no longer be held down and depressed and stressed out, whether mentally or physically, by any experience in this world. You will know that you cannot be held down or stressed out by anything that you go through, any situation, any person, any place in this world, because you see everything, all in your life, everywhere you go, every person you meet, as a channel that is bringing a great gift of health to your body. You can see everything in your world as a channel that puts a spring in your step, that has the mind clarity for you, that increases those positive endorphins in your body. So wherever you are, affirm with me, the very act of living my life brings joy to my body. Yes. Know that the very act of living your life, the very presence of who you are, the very presence of what you're doing and who you're interacting with in your life is always bringing great gifts of health to your body. Friends, you must always consider how experience plays out in our body. And not only experience as in the situations, the people, but also the foods that we're intaking into our body, the drinks that we're intaking into our body. Now, in my village, now we have a new baby. And the other day, my friend was telling me that, you can't just feed the baby anything. You have to have the baby on a routine, right? Maybe this week you'll try bananas. Another week you'll try apples. Because this way you know whether the baby is allergic to one thing over the other. How the baby reacts to different things, right? Because you're learning this human being as it is learning itself, as it is learning the world. And you, as the caretaker, have to take these certain precautions. And I think, we do this sometimes. We go out to a new restaurant or a dinner or something and we try something new and it upsets our stomach. We as adults can identify like, okay, my stomach is upset, I have indigestion, whatever it is. Oh, it must be because of this new food that I've introduced into my body, right? We have the wherewithal to understand where and how our bodies are affected by foods. But we must not stop at foods. We must realize that every experience plays out in our body. Every experience, every situation that we have, even every person that we're interacting with, whether they're strangers or people that we are familiar with, they're somehow playing out in our body. How is it playing out in your body? How does it affect your nervous system? How does it affect sickness in your body? Does it give you high blood pressure? Does it give you migraines? Does it want you to slip further into your addictions? That's really why people are addicted to so many things, because the world is so crazy. The world is so off-putting to them that they fall into their addictions because they don't want to deal with what is actually going on. We have to consider these things in our world. Are there stomach aches? Are there leg cramps? Are there, all these things that are happening? How are they playing out in our body? I think that there are three main things that contribute to body decline, and that is for everybody. The first thing is stress. The second is poor diet. And the third is inactivity. When we look at stress, we can stress over anything in this world, can't we? Right? We stress over money, either the lack thereof, or things are too expensive in the store. And we see this all over the world now. They talk about inflation and the prices are going up, and it's just different from what you remember. I remember when I started driving, gas was under $2. Now, who knows, depending on where you go. And it can be frustrating, right? You can feel like your money is not meeting your needs. You can stress over your job. You can stress over relationships, over friendships, over family, the things in your family, right? You can stress over your health as you're experiencing different things in your health and in your body, not really seeing how your body is giving you great gifts of health. It can bring stress to your life. And let's not even talk about traffic, right? If you're a driver, even if you're taking public transportation, even if you're in an Uber, you could be in the back of the Uber and get frustrated with the traffic, right? So all these things are bringing stress to our body. All these things are bringing a level of difficulty to how our body operates. You couple that with a poor diet, and we're talking about foods and drinks that are not healthy for your body. This week, our Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, released his study about alcohol and alcohol consumption giving a greater risk of cancer, right? Now, whether you decide to never drink again or drink all the time now, this is something that you have to consider. But a diet is not just the foods and the drink. It is anything that you're intaking into your consciousness, into your life. That is your diet, because it is affecting your body. So that means that when we talk about poor diet, we're also talking about poor thoughts, poor words, poor people consciousness that we're allowing into our world. That is a part of a poor diet. And then inactivity. You combine all of that with the inactivity, not wanting to move, right? Not moving, not exercising. People go into sloth and laziness, not doing anything in this world. And listen, like I said before, there are times where you have to work, but there are also times of relaxation. But being lazy and relaxing for a minute are two totally different things. But inactivity is not also laziness, because there are some situations that come into your life where you find yourself daydreaming of what could have been, what you could have said, and then the next thing you know, an hour has passed by, and it's just like when you're on Instagram or Facebook, right? You can fall into a rabbit hole of just videos, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to stay on the phone, they want you to stay on the app as much as possible. Next thing you know, an hour has gone by. We do that sometimes with our life. We do that sometimes with negation in our world, where we're so invested, we're so involved. The next thing you know, we've thought about our negation for an hour. Next thing you know, a year has gone by. Next thing you know, it's a decade, and your life is going by without the inactivity of moving into something great for your life. Friends, you can combat stress with your faith. This is the month of faith. You can combat stress knowing that you will find a way, because the universe has cleared a way for you. You just have to navigate your way through it. You can overcome from a poor diet by taking responsibility for the energy that your body receives and releases, right? And that, again, is not only just food and drink, taking responsibility for the foods that you're eating, for the drinks that you're putting into your system, but also for the thoughts, the words that you're allowing people to share in your life. All that energy your body is receiving, can you take responsibility for the energy in your world? And we can combat inactivity with movement. Moving, being active in our life, exercising, being creative in our world. Listen, I love going on vacation. My thing is, I work hard all year. I deserve a vacation. Work hard, play harder, right? Your times of relaxation must be great for you. Or your times of fun, your times of activity, your times of creativity must be good for you. So here's the thing. And we must remember that experience always becomes a part of us. But how do we allow experience to evolve in us? How do we allow experience to work in our body? Are we saying that every experience that we have is a great gift of health for my body? Or is it bringing the stress? Is it affecting the nervous system in negative ways? Is it bringing sickness? Is it bringing high blood pressure to our world and the migraines and perpetuating addictions? All of these things can be difficult for us to go through. But the question is, can we claim more moments of health for ourselves? Can we claim more moments of victory over the situations, over negation for ourselves? We have to use our faith. We have to cultivate our faith in these moments of despair, in these moments of distraction. Realizing, though, that faith is not a magic wand, right? Faith is not Tinkerbell just, flying her magic wand around, right? It is a tool that we're using to build. It is a tool that we're using to repair our world. And that is how you use faith. This morning's Bible lesson, I would like you, since we didn't have live church today, our Bible lesson today was taken from Hebrews chapter 11, reading from verses 1 to 16. Hebrews 11 is such a dynamic lesson. It starts out with giving such a wonderful definition of faith. Hebrews 11 says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. One translation in the Amplified Version says that faith is the assurance and the confirmation of things that we hope for, the evidence and the conviction of the things not yet experienced by the senses, right? The things that we haven't seen yet, the things that we haven't touched yet, the things that we are praying for, but it hasn't materialized in our world. And then the scripture goes on to give all these examples about people who use their faith and people who worked faith and understood faith and used their faith in God. And in verse 13 it says, all these died without receiving the tangible fulfillment of God's promise, only having welcomed it from a distance. So they didn't receive everything that they had faith for. They didn't receive everything that they had a mission to receive in their life, but they still used their faith. Now, people would sit back and say, then what is the point? What is the point of my life? What is the point of having faith? What is the point of living in this existence if I'm not going to get everything I want? We must remember that the point is us. Friends, the point of life is you. The point of your life is who you are right now. This life, this body, this mind, this energy that you're giving off in the world, your relationships, your friendships, right? Your communications, your name in history is not a waste. It is the point. And friends, that has to be enough. Because you tell people that, like, you are the point. Well, what am I supposed to? No. Because we're looking for something that we can't grab when we don't even realize that what we are seeking on the outside is right where we are. It is who we are. And that has to be enough. From that point, you can build goals, you can build relationships, you can build friendships. But if you don't have you, if you don't have your spirit, if you don't have your love, you will never see the point of life. Let the point be you. Let the mission be who you are. Let the mission be this life, this body, this mind, this energy. That is all you. Friends, faith is living in the knowing that joy is possible. Can you live in this knowing right here and right now that joy is possible? Joy is real. Joy is fulfilled in you. I was listening to Jennifer Lewis. They call her the Black Mother of Hollywood, right? And someone was asking her, she was having an award or something like that, and they said, how does it feel to be in your moment now? And she said, I am the moment. I am always the moment. Can we say this for ourselves, that I am always the moment? One famous quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in moments of challenge and controversy. So friends, I pose the question to you. Where do you stand for your life? Do you stand in your shame? Do you stand in your guilt? Do you stand in your fear? And listen, in order to overcome these things, you have to stand in the shame. You have to stand in the guilt. You have to stand in your fear. But as you stand in this negation, you must know that there must be a next step. You can't stand there and live there. You have to continue moving. You have to admit these things in your world and move on to the next step. You have to move on with all the conviction in you. You have to stand up for your good. You have to stand up for your health. You have to stand up for your peace. You have to stand up for your love, because that is what you have to live and be in order to move on with your life, in order to find your peace, in order to find your truth, in order to find your health, in order to find your faith. So affirm with me, with all the conviction in me, I stand up for my good. I stand, put your fist in the air, I stand up for my health. I stand up for my peace. I stand up for my love. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for all the goodness that you could ever be and imagine and live in this world. Friends, faith calls us to run towards difficulty. Faith, because people think that faith is a magic wand. You just use faith and everything is going to just wash away. No, faith is going to call you to difficult moments. And when we don't deal with the difficult moments, that is not faith, that is avoidance. It's two totally different things. Of course, we are all praying for the people in California with the California wildfires. But you see that these firefighters, I mean, you gotta love these emergency personnel, right? From the ambulance to the firefighters, because these are heroes that run toward the danger, right? We have heroes not only in America. We have firefighters that came from Canada and Mexico and people that want to help from all over the world. These are heroes because they go toward the danger. You have to be the hero for yourself. You have to run towards your difficulty, run towards your pain, run towards your depression, knowing that there is something great on the other side, knowing that your faith holds any situation, that your faith holds any experience in hope. There is great esteem in the things that you are going through. There is great joy for you to experience in whatever situation is in your life. The question is that what you want? Do you want the joy? Do you want hope? Do you want your life to live in this esteemed way? Another quote from Dr. King says, wars are poor chisels for carving out peaceful tomorrows. Wars are poor chisels for carving out peaceful tomorrows. Now, he was talking about this on a global scale, but I'd like to talk about this on a personal scale, right? For each and every one of us. Because there are people that are at war with their faith. There are people that are at war with their life, with love, at war with money. They don't have enough money to pay their bills, their finances. There are people that are at war with other people, forgetting that health starts with peace of mind, not war. So if there's any conflict in your life, that is why you don't see the other side of it, because of that conflict, because you're at war with different things in your world. You have to remember that the experiences that you're having in your world, you're not seeing the experience as the experience is. You're seeing the experience as you are. With all of your past, with all of your goals, with all of your beliefs, that is how you see each and every situation. And you have to realize that other people are doing the same thing too. Other people have the filter of their past, of their beliefs, in order for them to live this life. Now, knowing that, we can see hostile people, because I've had a few come into my world, right? People don't like you because of this or that, because of their beliefs, whatever the case may be. But we must realize that people are really triggered by you because there's something within them that needs to be healed. That is really none of your business. That's what they have to work through. And listen, I always remember Charlemagne. There was this video. I even forget what it was, but this guy was cursing him. I mean, calling him every name but Charlemagne, right? And the guy that was with him was just like, "Wait, calm down. Like, there's no need for all this." And Charlemagne was just like, "Go ahead, let him talk." And I was like, "That's my brother in my head, because we have the same. I don't even know if he's a Scorpio or where he's from, but." This is how I look at life, right? I look at people when they want to tell me all negative things. Do you feel better now? Do you feel good now? Because it has nothing to do with me. They are triggered by the little child that needs to be healed in them. But I need to move by the big God that is within me. That the God that is bigger than any human ego could ever be. That has nothing to do with me. I am minding my own business. I love this Calypso by Patrice Roberts. If you ever heard it, if you're into Calypso and Soca, Patrice Roberts saying, "I gonna drink water and mind my business." Right? I want that to be my theme song. Everywhere I walk into, I want Patrice Roberts to sing in the background, "I'm gonna drink water and mind my business." Friends, mind your business. Mind your own spiritual business. Let people go through what they have to go through, but you go through your love. You go through your joy. You go through your faith, having perfection in you and not in someone else's opinion, not in someone else's ego, right? Life is brought to you by your faith. Life is brought to you by your expansion. Life is brought to you by your conviction. So let people have their moment. You have your grace. You continue with your faith. You continue with your healing. You continue with your gift. You continue forgiving all the way. Another quote from Dr. King says, "Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a permanent attitude." So friends, today, let your attitude towards life bring powerful love. Let it bring powerful healing. Let it bring powerful success. Tune your faith. Fix your faith in order to receive the great gifts of healing. Fix your faith so that your body is receiving love, is receiving healing, is receiving the power that it needs to have right here and right now. So affirm with me, fist in the air, top of your lungs, my attitude towards my life brings powerful love. My attitude towards my life brings powerful healing. And stretch your hands out to your world. My attitude towards my life brings powerful success. How wonderful is that? And so we have these goals in our world. We have these things that we're motivated to accomplish in our world. And that is important to us. It is important to our self-worth to have work to do in this world. That's really why we give kids chores, so that they can have a sense of accomplishment, right? Once they're finished with it and we say, "Good job," they feel good about themselves. But there are some people that don't know how to build their self-esteem, right? They don't know how to have a goal, how to have responsibilities in their world, how to have a life that has purpose, how to do a job that they can appreciate at the end of the day. Hebrews 11, again, the scripture reading that we're working with, talks about these people that are without a country, right? They feel exiled. They feel like a stranger. They don't feel connected to people. They feel that they have nothing to offer. And this is what I always think about people who commit suicide. I was reading an article just this week where they were talking about Robin Williams, because I've always thought, I think of Mrs. Doubtfire, one of my favorite movies in the world. Even when I see the poster or it comes up on whatever streaming service it comes up, I just see him with the wig on and the glasses, and all these memories, all this laughter just fills me. And I think, how can this man who brought so much laughter be so depressed? And then what the article was saying, though, is that he was diagnosed with this form of dementia where he was going to be in a decline, and that could have been a reason for him not to want to continue life, because he figured, I'll just end it all instead of going through this pain. And there are so many people, because suicide doesn't know age. The youngest person I've heard commit suicide, I believe, was 7. The oldest person was in their 90s, right? So it's not about age. It's not about health. It's not about love. It's not about self-worth. It is different for everyone in the world. The scripture, let's go back to Hebrews chapter 11. In verse 14 and 16, it says, "Now those who say such things make it clear that they are looking for a country of their own. But the truth is, they were longing for a better country, that is, a heavenly one. For that reason, God is not ashamed of them or to be called their God. God has prepared a place for them." Friends, can you work in the faith, knowing that wherever you go, your body is receiving good gifts of health? That wherever you go, whatever you feel you need in this world, you are reaching that point of heaven. Listen, this is something that is always debated, right? I say that heaven, or metaphysics says that heaven and hell is right here. And the people that have other religions and believe in other things say, no, heaven and hell is in the afterlife. But when we break it down, the afterlife, where we end up in that afterlife, if you believe that, deals with now. It all comes back to what we do, the decisions that we're making now in our life. So heaven and hell, the consciousness, is how we live on earth. And there's some humans that go through a hellish experience trying to find heaven. And that's what we're all looking for, the definition of our heaven, the definition of the peace that we want to understand. And it can fall into desperation. It can fall into people looking outside of themselves. And we have to understand that that is okay. We have to understand that God, the universe, understands our desperation to find that consciousness of heaven, to find that life of heaven. The universe understands our desperation to find comfort, and it is not ashamed to be called our God. It is not ashamed of us and where we need to be and how we live this life journey. It is okay. We are human at the end of the day, but I want you to remember, friends, that in your quest to find outward satisfaction, let us not forget to cultivate inner peace. Because the more you look outside is the more you have to build the peace that is inside of you. The more you're looking for things outside and listen, the relationships, the people, the places, all wonderful, all, produce great endorphins in our body, and that is wonderful. But what about the inside? What about the soul? What about the consciousness? What about the mindset that you have for yourself? What about your ambitions in this world? Friends, never forget to make yourself happy. Never forget to bring joy to yourself. And that is how you build great and wonderful health for your life. Would you affirm with me? Fist in the air, top of your lungs. I never forget to make myself happy. Why don't we hug ourselves and say that, right? I never forget to make myself happy. And so life is stranger than fiction. If you, as a minister, you get to hear a lot of different stories. And that's one reason I became a minister, because people just love just walking up to me and telling me their business. And I want to hear, right? I want to listen and, try to motivate them in great and wonderful ways. But we all have a story. We all have an opinion. We all have a lifestyle. We all have relationships. We all have friendships. How is the combination of these things enriching our body? Are you using your story, your opinions, your lifestyle, your relationships, your friendships to prepare for your health, to know that you are constantly receiving great gifts of health from your world? Last quote from Dr. King before we end. Dr. King says, "In the long run of history, destructive means cannot bring about constructive ends. So, can there be less destructive thoughts in your world? Can there be less destructive words and actions and people in your world? Can there be less destructive plans and eating habits and routines in your world? Would your body be better off if certain people, places, and things were removed from your world? These are things that you have to get honest with in order to be open to receiving great gifts of health for your body. And you know that even with outside influence, are you giving your body an opportunity to receive great gifts of health? Friends, open your mind, open your life, open your soul to receiving the great gifts of life. And as you do, you know that every experience, every person, every place, every thought you think, every environment, every atmosphere, whether you're swimming in the ocean or you're flying in the sky, there is nowhere that is going to separate you from the great healing, the great gift that God has in store for you, the great gift that the universe has in store for you. Friends, would you open up your mind? Would you open up your consciousness to receive these great gifts? I know that you do. So affirm this last affirmation with me. Fist in the air, top of your lungs. My body is God's great gift of health. Hug yourself and say it one more time. My body is God's great gift of health. So now that you have put that out in the universe, now that you have affirmed it and put it out into the ether, open your mind, open your heart, open your soul to receive the goodness now. Open your life to receive the great gifts of health, knowing that every nucleus of every cell is responding in great and wonderful ways to the wholeness and the perfection of God. So hopefully it won't snow next week, and we will be back in Brooklyn at Plaza View Event Space, right there on Flatbush Avenue at the corner of Fillmore, right next to the Flatbush Bus Depot. We hope to see you there so that you can get more than just this little sermon, but you can sing with us, you can pray with us, meditate with us, and go through these wonderful services that we go every. So I just miss being in Brooklyn right here and right now, but I know that the word is still strong in you. I know that the word is still being received in your soul, being received in your spirit. And everywhere you go, you know that the universe is always bringing your body the health that it needs, the joy that it needs, the great gifts of health that it will always need. I love you. Be blessed.